So Joanne Harris shares something with one of her characters from Blue-Eyed Boy. But what? The answer is being able to feel and taste colour.
Nihal's just told me he knew that. Phew! He's read some of it. Welcome. Welcome to our new book club, where once a month the panel is going to be joined by one of you to discuss a new novel. This month it's Blue-Eyed Boy by Joanne Harris, whose most celebrated work to date was Chocolat, turned into a massive movie, of course, starring Juliette Binoche and Johnny Depp. Blue-Eyed Boy, it was published 6 weeks ago in hardback. If you've read it as well, would you recommend it? Email your verdict to us. WrightStuff@5.tv is the address. And as I mentioned earlier, we do get the chance to meet one of you at Book Club, and this month, Wright Stuff Reads is thrilled to welcome Margot Ensley from Kent. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. I would imagine your journey in this morning is the stuff of novels. It's been quite a difficult one, I know. You're a fan of thrillers and mysteries?
Yes, I am. Yes, Matthew. Yes.
Any particular favourite authors?
Well, I suppose I probably watch more television thrillers than books. But no, I love something that's fascinating and a little bit different.
You're a sort of Colin Dexter type person, or a Kate Atkinson maybe? On the other
well, probably sort of a bit romance and adventure as well. Yes.
Not much romance in Blue-Eyed Boy. I would
no, although he
suggest.
tries, doesn't he?
Yes. Blue-Eyed Boy is billed as a dark psychological thriller, and it centres on the thoughts of the author, BB, who posts everything online. Everything? Well, some of it is true, and some of it anything but. Friends and colleagues from his creative writing course can read some of his thoughts and post theirs as well on his site, Bad Guys Rock. But is what he posts up there fiction or terrifyingly true? BB, he lives at home with his mother. He stalks a girl he fancies called Albertine, with whom he shares a dark secret. BB has two brothers, but both have died in accidental circumstances. One of them, Brendan, has been wrongly identified as a synesthete, someone who can feel and taste colour. Another girl in the neighbourhood, a blind girl, is also wrongly identified as possessing a special gift expressing music as art. But it's BB who turns out to be the most gifted of all, and yet no one recognises this. Boo! So what does he do? Kills. That's what he does. Cleverly. And then brags about it online. Author Joanne Harris wanted to write a novel that looked at the way the web has blurred the line between fact and fiction. Has she succeeded, Anne?
She's also said, I read an interview with her, that she said she wanted to subvert the traditional way that stories are told in a linear form, you know, in a timeline. She wanted to subvert that, and I think she has done that, because all you're reading is mad people's blogs.
Yes.
And that's how it feels. You just think, what am I doing in this disgusting, horrible world of these horrible people blogging, and they're dark and sinister, and they are talking about killing people all the time. And if I hadn't had to finish it for today, I would have put it down after the chapter 1 or 2. I wouldn't. It held nothing for me that made me want to turn the next page.
Now, I know it's also fair to say, Nihal, we've made a bit of a joke of it this week. It hasn't engaged you, although you've made a valiant effort to... You got through, what, 3/4 of it?
Yeah, I just felt that it was just being too clever for its own good. And I was saying earlier on that I had a music producer came into Radio 1 to play me some of his music this week, and I was listening to it and I was saying to him, look, you've got all these incredible elements in there, but the arrangement is all wrong. You've tried to throw too much into it. And this is what I found about... You know, I've read quite a bit of this book, and I found it really tough to read. And I felt my life ebbing away and thinking of the other things I could be doing while reading it. And the thing is trying to put this internet format into a classic old format, like just a simple book. To me, it just doesn't work. It just looks it just seems a bit naff. It's like a vicar in trainers. It just doesn't really work.
Would you go along with that, Margot, that the very thing she was attempting to do, which was somehow place almost traditional murder mystery into the 21st century, into the world of the World Wide Web, do you think that was a mistake, or that she just failed to pull it off?
Well, it's difficult to describe, isn't it? But it got a bit tedious, all this, you know, Blue-Eyed Boy is posting on this and so forth.
That's right, because you get the thoughts and you get to hear what Blue-Eyed Boy is listening to musically as he writes.
Yes. Terrible music. That's another thing that wound me up.
Yes,
Sorry, Mark.
and then sort of the couple of paragraphs after that are really his posting. It's not sort of...
Could you tell what was going on, really?
Bits of it.
Just out of interest, how long did it take you to sort of get into it?
Probably about 2 or 3 days, I suppose.
And in terms of pages?
I got the gist of it, yes. I was reading probably 2 or 3 chapters a day.
Because I sort of... The hardest 2 novels I've struggled to get into in the past were Captain Corelli's Mandolin, and for the first 75, 76 pages, I really thought this is like a sort of academic... I need an lexicographer next to me to actually help me understand it. And yet, once I got over the awkward start, I was away, and to this day,
towards the end.
It does build towards the end, but I found it ever so. I'll be honest, ever so difficult to get involved in.
I'll tell you why. Because at the end, everything starts to come together, and then you do get into a linear timeline where things are starting to happen.
Yes.
And the denouement is quite good. Yes. I mean, the end is actually quite good, and you think, well, maybe am I pleased I stuck with it? And I thought, no, there were better things to do this week than read this.
Well, to invest this amount of time, or to invest any time read a book, you have to care about the characters. And I didn't care about any of them.
I thought one of my first thoughts
waiting for them to
about
die, to be
BB was it made me feel a bit like Holden Caulfield from Catcher in the Rye.
So.
And there's a kind of very nihilistic, very down about everything. The difference was that Holden Caulfield, you read about and you think, oh, I wouldn't mind being like him, just going around saying, no. But in the case of BB, you just sort of think,
you end up caring about Holden Caulfield. You don't care about any of the characters in this. And there are smidgens where you think, oh, this is going to be good. She starts talking about this synesthesia business where a child can look at something and immediately taste or they can taste something or smell something. In other words, they almost have a sixth sense, or they combine senses. And I thought, well, that's interesting. And there's a paragraph that really caught. I thought, that's good. She's obviously a good author. I haven't read any of her books. But then she just, I mean, you think, so what? She doesn't do anything with it.
I was just about to say that, leaving aside the failings of the plot, what about her prose? Because I would have to say there's some wonderful colour imagery that comes through Margot. She uses all kinds of references relating to colour, and it starts off, you subliminally pick it up, and then it starts to relate to character as well.
Yes.
Do you think it was nicely written?
Parts were. I thought Emily in the church.
Yeah, that's the bit I picked out.
Yes.
Absolutely
where she's
wonderful
crying,
moment.
the crying.
Emily is the character that is going to, we think, be able to... she's blind, and when she hears music, she sees colours and paintings. And there's this wonderful description where she shivered, she smiled, she turned her face to the invisible roof and opened her mouth like a baby bird, half expecting to feel the sounds like snowflakes falling on her tongue. And I thought, this is going to be good now. And then she drops it.
I know.
Now, it's quite clear that this novel hasn't won all of you guys over. I'm going to ask you our sort of killer question, really, which would be, would you recommend it to a friend? Anne, would you recommend it?
I would not recommend it to a friend for a good read. I would recommend it to students or anyone who wants to learn about writing, because it's a very interesting experiment, which I don't think worked.
Margot?
I would recommend it to a male friend, but not a female friend.
Why?
Because I think it's got quite a sort of a male edge to it. Definitely. Because it's all about the boys, and the mother is horrendous.
In relation to mum,
yes,
yeah.
Yes.
OK, I hadn't considered that. Yes. And Nihal, I already know what your answer is.
If you want to lose a mate, either sleep with their girlfriend or give them this book.
I would say you would definitely be better off reading Kate Atkinson's crime novels before you got onto something like this. She also writes beautifully as well. I'm sorry, Joanne Harris.
Would you recommend it to a friend?
No. Sorry. That is all we've got for you this week, though. Next month's Wright Stuff Reads Book Club is going to review this, After the Party by chick-lit queen Lisa Jewell. This is a sequel to her bestseller, Ralph's Party. You can have it later, Margot. Loads more details, including how you can become Margot, our guest reviewer, on our website, 5.tv/WrightStuff. And I have to say a huge thank you to Margot for giving up your time reading it and joining us this morning. And also to Nihal and Anne as well. Well done, all three. Thank you.